Okay, this is a reaction video from DW Euromax German Stereotypes. Never seen this video before, but let's take a look at this one. Please click like, share, and subscribe for them, and like, share, and subscribe for me. But these are German stereotypes.
What generalizations does the rest of the world make about Germany? I've picked out 5 German stereotypes. How much truth is in them, and where did they come from? But first of all, which ones annoy Germans the most?
Viele denken, wir würden in Lederhosen rumrennen.
Yeah, that's one thing, is people think that Germans, as somebody who's been there, no, they don't walk around in lederhosen.
Und Oktoberfest, Bier trinken.
Dirndl, Lederhosen, das ist ein Klischee, das kann man so nicht
Okay, if you can't see what they're saying, but they're talking about the lederhosen, that's what the subtitles are telling me.
Dass die deutsche Sprache so aggressiv wirkt.
The German language sounds so aggressive, they have no sense of humor.
Die keinen Humor haben, also jedes Land hat irgendwie einen eigenen Humor, also das ist Quatsch.
Ein bisschen umständlich, langweilig, das sind wir ja eigentlich nicht.
They certainly weren't boring, I'll tell you that much.
Images of Germany often include a woman dressed like this. This is a Dirndl, and the
Dirndl, okay, and I guess she's dressed like Heidi.
male equivalent is Lederhose, literally leather trousers. These types of folk clothing are very specifically linked to the southern state of Bavaria and neighbouring Austria. You might come across people wearing them day to day in Bavaria, but it's most common on special occasions and during festivals like Oktoberfest. The Dirndl is just one example of folk costume in Germany. Most traditional dress, known as Tracht, started out as work clothes for peasants. Various aspects of traditional idealized German culture, including Tracht, were later used in Nazi propaganda. The Dirndl even got a bit of a makeover under the Nazi regime. A lower neckline, a slightly shorter skirt, and a tighter waist. The designs seen today vary from very traditional to very modern, and apparently the position of the apron's bow can indicate relationship status. For example, tied on the right means married or engaged, and on the left means single. The stereotypical image of a German also tends to include a beard.
I didn't think about that much. That if you're approaching a woman and she's on the right, it's one thing, and on the left, it's another. That is rather interesting.
In the hand, usually in one of these.
Now, I did see those. Okay, big behemoth glasses of beer, yeah.
Enormous glasses. In fact, the mass is another element of Bavarian culture that has some.
In fact, one of the things you do see at the beer gardens, like when these waitresses who are carrying these things out, because these things are pretty heavy. I mean, one is not really that heavy, but 2, 3, or in a hand at one time is, and they've got their arms built like pretty big.
Somehow come to dominate the image of Germans abroad. Germany actually has an impressive range of glassware.
Yeah, I saw all those too.
Sometimes with a specific glass to go with a specific type of beer, like this Kolsch glass from Cologne. Of course, not all Germans like beer, but it is an important part of the culture overall, with different beers also connected to regional identities. Traditional brews which follow the rules.
When we were in Frankfurt, we drank a lot of Beck's beer. That's what I remember drinking there.
Rules of the beer purity law still dominate, but the country has seen a boom in craft varieties too. And the popularity of non-alcoholic beer shows that the Germans' taste for beer is more than just a thirst for alcohol. Cheers to that! 5 Minuten vor der Zeit ist des Deutschen Pünktlichkeit. So goes the German saying, which means that punctuality in Germany means arriving 5 minutes early. Well, whoever decided this forgot to tell the trains. It's practically a national sport here to moan about train delays, and after 4 years of commuting, I'm well and truly on board, so to speak. But a lot of German people do pride themselves on being on time.
I never had a problem with the German trains. The German trains were never... back in 2006 during the World Cup, the trains all ran on time, and they were very, very efficient.
And punctuality is a characteristic you see again and again attributed to the Germans. So where did this punctual reputation come from? Let's talk to a time expert.
Die Preußen waren sehr erfolgreich in der Vertaktung.
The Prussians were very successful in setting both man and machine to the clock.
Von Mensch und Maschine. Die protestantische Ethik, eben der Fleiß, der Gehorsam,
Protestant ethics, okay.
Die Pünktlichkeit als Tugend, die hat auch viel dazu beigetragen.
Awesome.
Haben die Deutschen allgemein ein gutes Verhältnis zu der Zeit?
Da ist jetzt die spannende Frage, was heißt gut? In Deutschland ist der Begriff Zeit häufig mit so einem Muss
The word time is often connected with an obligation.
verbunden. Zeit ist etwas, das
Time
kann
is
ich eben
something I can
organisieren,
organize, save,
sparen,
get under
in den
control.
Griff bekommen. Ich muss sie managen.
I must
That
manage
brings
my
us on to
time.
the next stereotype, German efficiency, which gets a big thumbs down from me.
Yeah, it got a big thumbs up from me. Okay, German efficiency was actually pretty good.
A dictionary definition of efficient is working or operating quickly and effectively in an organised way. Okay, so the
Now, maybe they put out a good sign during the World Cup in 2006, but I thought they were very efficient.
Germans might have the organisation part down, but speed and effectiveness, not so much. Did you know it took 632 years to finish building the Cologne Cathedral?
Now, I've been to the Cologne Cathedral, and that's not surprising because I believe it was started in the 1100s and finished in like the 16th, the 18th and 19th century. So, yeah, I mean, okay, maybe they didn't build it as fast as you would have liked it to, but have you seen the structure? It's not like they had cranes.
A more modern case study that brought global visions of German efficiency crashing down was the new BER airport in Berlin,
Never been to that airport.
a project plagued with problems from the get-go. It finally opened in 2020, billions of euros over budget and 10 years behind schedule, just in time for the coronavirus to hit.
That's like kind of like the new Wembley. Took forever to build. I mean, I think it was started before the Emirates was constructing. The Emirates was finished before Wembley was finished. But at least they got it done. Okay, it's done. And you can use it. So hey,
Bringing most air traffic to a standstill. Interestingly, it often seems that the Germans' love of precision and planning actually gets in their way. If Germany ever wants to live up to its efficient reputation, it's going to have to break up with bureaucracy.
bureaucracy. I remember when you talk about bureaucracy, the first thing that comes to my mind is Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home. And why do I think about that? They actually showed that movie in the Soviet Union. And one of the last lines spoken is by Dr. McCoy, where he says, the bureaucratic mentality is the only constant in the universe. And in the Soviet Union almost broke down. That brought the house down. They were all laughing. They thought that was one of the best lines in the movie. And so, yeah, the bureaucratic mentality, that plagues everybody. That plagues my country, that plagues Germany, that plagues England, that plagues all countries.
What was it Mark Twain apparently said? A German joke is no laughing matter. Bit harsh, Mark. Personally, I know plenty of funny Germans, and I think most people appreciate good comedy, right?
Yeah, something you're not really good at, but that's okay.
However, what is sometimes missing from the comedic toolbox here is the ability to take things a little less seriously and have a good old laugh at yourself. But don't take my word for it. Let's talk to someone who knows a lot about the German relationship with humour. Gail Tufts is a comedian from the United States who's been in Germany for more than 30 years.
This country is the size of Texas, but it is incredibly regional, and not just with accents, but also with what they eat, what they drink, and when they laugh. The people who come from the Rhineland, they're ready to laugh. They're ready to have a good time. They're the party people of this country. And then the Berliners have seen everything because it is the cultural capital of this country. So they'll all sit back and say, well, tell me about it. And the North Germans are incredibly dry, but really smart. And in the South, there's a warm-heartedness. In Stuttgart, for example, talk about food. You can do a 20-minute monologue about bread. They will be rolling in the aisles in Stuttgart.
So where does the no sense of...
I know there's a huge bread culture in Germany. I'm aware of that. Now, like I said, when I was there, we went east and west, west and east. We were in Frankfurt, and we'd been to Berlin. To be honest with you, I didn't meet a whole lot of funny Germans, but then again, I wasn't really looking for a whole lot of funny Germans either.
The humour reputation come from?
You have to kind of go back to the Second World War in those glorious, the golden 20s, where there was so much entertainment and so much theater. A lot of the Germans that were involved in that were Jewish. And they were either exterminated and murdered, or they fled to the States. And after the war, of course, things weren't that funny, because where does comedy come from? It comes from my experience, my storytelling. And I think there was an entire generation that it was very difficult to find the humor in anything.
Yeah, I could certainly understand that. I mean, if you have the history of Germany, especially in the early part of the 20th century, yeah, I can certainly get that.
Although, once the 50s, 60s started, there were some great German comedians. Loriot, for example. In the 90s and the 2000s, all of a sudden comedy clubs started popping up and mixed shows where there would be 4 different comedians a night. And now you've got a comedian for every taste. Germans do have a sense of humor.
I know Germans have a sense of humor. I'm not questioning that. You know, the farther you leave from what happened in World War II, especially World War II, you know, there are other experiences, and the German people, and like the German country, which is a very impressive country, and the German people are very impressive German people. You tend to forget a little bit. Not so many people remember that or were alive during that time period. I can certainly understand that.
And thankfully it's thriving, because in these times we all need a sense of humor.
I'd love to know how many of these things are part of your image of Germany, and which stereotypes from your country get on your nerves the most.
You know, I've a lot of people talk about the Americans and how Americans are, how Americans act, and they tend to generalize. But she just mentioned how German is very regional. Well, the United States is essentially the same way. Okay, we are a big country. People on the West Coast don't do things the same as the East Coast. Now, we're all Americans, or you know, from the United States, but we all don't act the same way. We all don't have the same things. All have the same reactions to things. And that's probably one of the more interesting things. It doesn't bother me, the stereotypes of an American, because some of them are true. And a lot, look, when I was in Germany, I saw Americans behaving like the stereotypical American, but we don't all act like that. And like I said, I don't think Germans all act the same way. We're all individuals. We all act the way we want to act.
Leave us a comment.
Okay, well, this was interesting. DW Euromax, please click like, share, and subscribe for them. And please click like, share, and subscribe for me. I enjoy doing videos on Germany, and this was a good one, too. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.